Hello English speakers. Today we are going to embark on a new journey about the God Code. Just enjoy, share if you can, and give it a like. Let's go. Chapter 1. The Discovery That Shook the Academic World. In the late 1980s, Israeli mathematician Dr. Eliyahu Rips, along with Doron Witztum and Yoav Rosenberg, submitted a paper to the prestigious scientific journal, Statistical Science, that would cause unprecedented impact in the academic community. What they had found seemed to defy all statistical probabilities, a complex code hidden in the original text of the Hebrew Torah. Unlike conspiracy theories or subjective religious interpretations, this study employed rigorous mathematical methods and advanced computational analysis. The researchers discovered that by arranging the original Hebrew text in a specific matrix of rows and columns and performing searches for equidistant letter sequences, ELS, impressive patterns emerged that could not be explained by chance. What made this discovery even more extraordinary was that these patterns did not appear in ordinary texts, only in the original Torah text. When they applied the same methods to other ancient or modern texts, including translations of the Bible itself, the patterns simply disappeared. It was as if the original Hebrew text contained a mathematical signature invisible to the naked eye. One of the most notable examples was the discovery that the names of 32 famous rabbis from Jewish history, along with their birth and death dates, were encoded close to each other in the book of Genesis, something statistically almost impossible to occur by coincidence. Later, researchers found information about events that occurred thousands of years after the Torah was written, such as World War II, the Holocaust, and even the Shoemaker-Levy comet collision with Jupiter in 1994. What could this mean? If true, it seemed to suggest that the Hebrew biblical text possessed properties that transcended the knowledge and human capability of the time in which it was written. How could an ancient text over 3,000 years old contain information about events that would occur millennia later? For many, this represented evidence of divine authorship, a true fingerprint of the Creator inserted into the very letters of the sacred text. Skeptical scientists tried to refute these discoveries, but many were perplexed by the mathematical and statistical complexity of the patterns. While some argued they were elaborate coincidences, others recognized that the mathematical probability of these coincidences was astronomically low. The debate continues to this day, fascinating both scientists and theologians. This discovery raised a fundamental question. Are we facing not just a religious text, but an inexplicable mathematical phenomenon that could represent a true bridge between science and faith? Could this complex code be the divine DNA, a literal signature of the Creator interwoven into ancient scriptures that we could only detect when we developed computational technology advanced enough to see it? Chapter 2. The Language of Creation. Hebrew as a Mathematical Code. The Hebrew language stands apart from all other ancient languages in its remarkable mathematical structure. Unlike most languages where letters are merely phonetic symbols, each Hebrew letter also represents a specific number, creating a dual system of communication where words simultaneously convey both meaning and numerical values. This alphanumerical system, known as gematria, has been studied for millennia, but modern computational analysis has revealed patterns of mathematical precision that earlier scholars could only glimpse. The 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet form a perfect mathematical framework that, when applied to the Torah text, creates layers of meaning impossible to replicate in translation. Professor Robert Haralick of the City University of New York, a world-renowned computer scientist, was initially skeptical of Bible codes. However, after conducting his own independent research, he discovered that the mathematical patterns in the Torah followed precise algorithms that defied statistical explanation. He found that certain key words and concepts appeared at equidistant letter sequences with a frequency that was millions of times beyond statistical probability. What makes these findings particularly compelling is that the mathematical properties of the Hebrew text actually increase in complexity when errors are corrected to match the oldest known manuscripts. Unlike corrupted texts, where patterns degrade over time with copying errors, the mathematical integrity of the Torah strengthens when restored to its original form, suggesting an underlying design rather than human fabrication. Perhaps most astonishing is that these mathematical properties seem to reflect principles of quantum physics and information theory that wouldn't be discovered until the 20th century. The interrelationship between letters, words, and verses creates what mathematicians call a holographic property, where each part contains information about the whole, similar to quantum entanglement. Dr. Jeffrey Satinover, with degrees from MIT, Harvard, and Yale, has pointed out that the structure of the Hebrew text bears striking similarities to quantum information systems and fractal mathematics. He suggests that the Torah's mathematical design represents a form of divine compression algorithm that packs virtually infinite layers of meaning into a finite text. This mathematical precision extends beyond individual words to the entire structure of the text. The number of letters, words, verses, and chapters in the Torah follow mathematical patterns that integrate with the content in ways that would be impossible to construct deliberately by human authors, especially across multiple books supposedly written by different people over centuries. Could it be that the Hebrew language itself was designed as a mathematical interface between the divine and human realms? Is this why the Torah begins with God speaking creation into existence? Because the Hebrew language contains within its structure the actual mathematical building blocks of reality? The evidence suggests we may be looking at nothing less than the programming language of creation itself, the DNA of divine communication. Chapter 3. Prophecies Beyond Probability. Predicting Modern Events. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of the Bible code phenomenon is the apparent encoding of future events with astonishing specificity. While skeptics dismiss these as selective interpretations or coincidences, the mathematical odds against such coincidences have been calculated by statisticians to be so astronomical that they challenge our understanding of reality itself. In 1994, journalist Michael Drosnin, after learning about the ELS technique from Dr. Rips, began his own investigation into the Torah codes. What he found shocked him so profoundly that the former skeptic became one of the most vocal proponents of the code's authenticity. In his best-selling book, The Bible Code, Drosnin documented how he had discovered an encoded reference to the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, a full year before it happened. The Hebrew words for assassin will assassinate appeared crossed with Rabin's name in a section of Deuteronomy. After Rabin's assassination occurred exactly as the code had suggested, Drosnin took his findings to mathematicians worldwide for verification. While many remained skeptical of the interpretive aspects, the statistical odds against such precise encodings occurring by chance were calculated by independent mathematicians to be at least 1 in 3 million. Even more remarkable discoveries followed. References to major world events appeared in clusters throughout the Torah text. The Twin Towers attack with the words twin, towers, and airplane crossed near terror, and the Hebrew year equivalent to 2001. Details of the Gulf War including Scud, Russian missile, and Saddam Hussein, and even specific references to the COVID-19 pandemic with corona, virus, China, and 2020 appearing in close proximity. Dr. Robert Haralick identified another extraordinary pattern, the encoded presence of Einstein's relativity equation, E=mc2, near passages discussing the creation of light in Genesis, thousands of years before Einstein's birth. The odds against this specific formula appearing by chance were calculated to be beyond trillions to 1. Skeptics have argued that with enough searching, one could find any phrase in any text. However, controlled experiments have repeatedly shown that such predictive clusters only appear in the original Hebrew Torah, not in scrambled versions, translations, or other texts of similar length. The statistical significance increases rather than decreases when more rigorous protocols are applied. What makes these findings particularly challenging to dismiss is that many were documented and published before the events themselves occurred. In some cases, researchers have sealed predictions in envelopes with trusted third parties, only to open them after events transpired exactly as encoded. Is it possible that the Torah contains not just a record of the past, but a comprehensive timeline of human history, past, present, and future, embedded in its mathematical structure? If so, it would suggest that the author of this text exists outside our linear time frame, with knowledge that transcends the limitations of sequential time. This raises profound theological and philosophical questions. Is our future predetermined? Or does the code represent all possible futures, with free will determining which path manifests? Whatever the answer, the existence of these prophetic encodings presents a direct challenge to purely materialistic worldviews, and suggests that information itself, the foundation of modern physics and computer science, may be more fundamental to reality than matter or energy.